If you lead in senior living, this moment will most likely happen to you sooner or later. A family member is going to stop you in the hallway and say, I don't really think that my mom is getting the care that she deserves. And in that moment, there's something that happens inside of you. Maybe you start to feel defensive, or your chest starts to tighten up, or maybe your brain immediately starts searching for explanations. But there's something much bigger that's happening that most leaders don't even realize is happening. And it's that in this moment, the emotional temperature of the entire room is being set. And more often than not, it's actually being set by you as the leader. Now, in the next few minutes, I actually want to give you a simple tool that can help you to stabilize the emotional climate of your home, of your building, especially in moments like this, moments of high pressure. Because whether it's a family concern, or maybe staff conflict, or survey stress from the state, or even a caregiver who's overwhelmed, there's something that's happening inside of you that your entire team can feel, and most leaders are completely unaware of it. So before we get to that tool though, we actually need to zoom out for just a moment, because the leadership landscape right now is changing faster than most people even realize. Right now, across the country and really around the world, artificial intelligence is beginning to take over huge portions of white-collar work. Tasks that used to require analysts or assistants or entire departments, they're now being handled by AI. Reports are generated faster, information is processed faster, decisions are supported by data faster than ever before. And on the surface, that may not seem like something that directly affects senior living. After all, we're focused on caring for residents. We're focused on supporting families. We're focused on leading caregivers. But what I want you to understand is that what's happening with AI is reshaping the larger workforce culture that our teams are coming from. And leaders across all industries are noticing something else that's happening at the same time. It's that many people are entering into the workforce today, and they're arriving with less life experience, lower level of relational skills, and more importantly, lower emotional resilience than the generations before. Why is that such a big deal? Well, you probably already know. Have you tried to give feedback to someone before and they completely shut down? That's happening more and more. That's lower emotional resilience. They can't handle it. Now, I'm not saying that to say that as a criticism. I'm saying that just to say that it's simply the environment that we are now leading in, whether we like it or not. So we've got to embrace this. And senior living is kind of interesting because that reality is becoming very visible, because this industry is built on human moments. Think about it. Families who are anxious about their loved ones, residents who deserve patience and dignity, but they're not always the easiest to work with, caregivers who are trying their best, but sometimes they just feel overwhelmed. And when people enter into that environment without strong emotional regulation, what happens is leadership has to fill that gap, which means something really important for you. In a world where information is everywhere and technology is accelerating, what I want you to know is that emotional intelligence is becoming the new leadership advantage. Because AI can process information faster than you can, faster than I can, faster even than computers could 2 years ago. But AI cannot regulate a room. It can't calm a nervous system down. It can't sit across from an overwhelmed caregiver and help them regain their confidence. See, that's the work of a leader. That's the work of leadership. And the leaders who are going to thrive in the coming decade won't just be the most knowledgeable leaders, because after all, knowledge is cheap now. I can get knowledge. Everyone has knowledge at their fingertips with their phone. But the leaders who are going to be the most impactful are the leaders who can learn to regulate themselves and stabilize the emotional climate of their teams who don't have the same level of skills. See, this is leading to a simple but powerful question, and I want you to really tune in here, is that when pressure rises in your home, in your building, What happens in you first? Not what do you say, not what do you do, but what happens inside of you. Because what I want you to catch here is that a lot of people want to lead the organization, but you can't lead the organization if you can't lead a team. And you can't lead a team if you can't lead yourself. This is what a lot of leaders actually miss. This is the truth that they miss, is that you can't set the temperature of a room if you don't know the temperature of yourself. See, your team is constantly reading you. They're reading you through your tone. They're reading you through your body language. They're reading you through how quickly you react, or through how patient or impatient you become in a difficult situation. See, you don't have to yell to change the temperature of a room. You just have to tighten up. You have to just feel the stress. And what happens is everyone around you feels it. Whatever's happening in you, they feel it. See, and that's why awareness matters. I'm not saying you can't have a bad day, but what I am saying is that unaware leaders spread stress. And stress leads to a decline in the outcomes that we want. But aware leaders can stabilize the room. And leaders who can stabilize the room, their homes always thrive. Now let me give you a quick example. I was talking with a senior living administrator recently who told me something that really stuck out. She said, I didn't realize how much my stress was affecting the building until one of my caregivers said, when you get quiet, we all start to worry that something's wrong. See, she wasn't yelling. She wasn't angry, but her team could feel the shift. And once she became aware of it, that's when everything started to change, because awareness gives leaders a moment of choice. And that's where this simple tool comes in. I call it the 90-second pause. When pressure rises, and it will, you have about 90 seconds where your nervous system is deciding whether or not you're going to react or whether or not you're going to lead. So here's the practice. It's really simple, 4 simple steps. Stop, name, breathe, and choose. Now let's break these steps down. First of all, you've got to stop. Before you react, you need to pause so that you can respond. You don't want to just react immediately. You want to actually slow it down. It's not ready, fire, aim. It's ready, aim, fire. So we want to stop and slow down to make sure that we're not just being reactive. The second thing we want to do is we want to name it. We want to identify the emotion that you're feeling. Are you feeling defensive? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling frustrated? What I want you to catch here is that you can't regulate yourself if you refuse to name what it is that you're feeling. There's a lot of leaders who do this. They won't acknowledge that they're frustrated, so they carry the frustrated energy into the situation. What I want you to do is name it. I'm actually feeling frustrated right now. By the way, it's okay to feel the emotion that you're feeling. It's just that you don't want to react from the emotion. You want to respond from clarity and vision. So once you've named the emotion, the third step is that you need to breathe. That's right, it sounds kind of woo-woo, but I just want you to slow your nervous system down. Take a slow, deep breath in, and a slow breath out. Do that a couple times. Let your body catch up to your leadership. That's going to actually hyper-oxygenate your blood so your brain has the power that it needs to do the final step, which is to choose. I just want you to ask yourself one question. What does this room need from me right now? Not what do I feel like doing, because you know, as leaders, we don't always get to do what we want to do, but what does the room need? What do these people need? What does the situation need? Do they need calm? Do they need clarity? Do they need boundaries? Do they need encouragement? Do they need stability? Because great leaders don't just feel the temperature of what's happening around them in the room, they actually set it. That's right, they set it. They are the thermostat, not the thermometer. So as I kind of wrap up, I just want you to reflect on this week. When pressure rises in your home, what happens in you? What emotions show up most often? What do your people experience from you when things go wrong? Because the emotional temperature of your building is almost always going to mirror the emotional temperature of its leader. And thermostats understand something powerful. And what they understand is that before you can set, the temperature of the room, you got to be able to know your own.